So let's continue our discussion. We are now in dance helix, I guess. Okay, so dance helix model. So the reason why it's dance, of course, dance came from the name of the creator of this model. It's from Frank Dance. Okay, then why is it helix? Because helix, it refers to an object having three-dimensional shape like that of a wire wound uniformly around cylinder or cone, just like this one. This is an example of helix. That's why the model is entitled Dance Helix Model. So according to Frank Dance, this model or the communication process is like the helix. Okay, so why? The helix communication model illustrates how the development and growth of communication or communicative actions will always be based on previous experiences. Okay? So, according to Frank Dance, ang capability daw of a person in communicating or when it comes to communication skill, it starts with a very small circle. And then as it goes on and as it moves, it grows bigger and bigger and bigger. So for Frank Dance, that's how communication process or how our communication skills develop as we grow older. Okay, just like this one in the photo. Okay, wait for a while. Okay, so just like this one, it starts when you were a baby, how you communicate. So for Frank Dance, small pa lang yung communication skills when you were still a baby. So how do you communicate before? You just communicate to your parents by just crying, right? You cry when you're hungry, you cry when you're hurt. So that's only your capability to communicate before. But as you grow older, you learn but as you grow older, you will learn to utter words, to make sounds. So little by little, your communication skill is developing, right? And then as you grow more older, you learn how to communicate. So nade-develop na yung communication skills mo. Okay? So you can communicate now to your classmates, to your friends, to your teachers, okay? And then as you grow older, you gain more experiences when it comes to communication skills. That is why the way you communicate also affects your experiences, your past experiences. Because as we grow older, our experiences is adding. Right? So, padami ng padami yung experiences natin sa life. And these experiences also helps us to grow more or develop more when it comes to your communication skills. Okay? So that is according to Frank Dance. That's how communication process in this model. Okay, so just like this one, communicative actions will always be based on previous experiences or behaviors. Okay, so if you can just notice those students who most of the time are joining, let's say, quizzes in school. We have quizzes, those co-curricular activities, the campings, those who are joining in talents or competitions. So most of them, they have good communication skills, right? It's because they have many experiences, communication skills, that these experiences help them to be competent in when it comes to communicating. Okay, so meaning to say for Frank Dance, so our the way we communicate or our capability to speak or communicate right now depends on our past experiences as well. Okay, so that is all for this model, dance helix model. So this dance helix model, okay, sorry. This dance helix model, it doesn't have elements just like the past models, right? It's because in this model, it emphasizes the communication progress, okay? So just like the one that we discussed in our principles of communication. One of the principles of communication that we studied is that communication is progressive. right? It is also like this model. This shows how communication progress as we learn, as we grow. Okay, so next one, after transactional communication model is the interactive communication model. This interactive communication model focuses on the cycle of message exchanges between the sender and receiver. And this interactive communication model is the most often used model until now. Okay, so it's because it's the last communication model. So what is a great example of this interactive communication model? We have the Shramm's model of communication. Okay, so as you can see, this is how Shramm's model of communication process. Okay, so this is, by the way, this model is also the normal or the most common communication process that we use. So first, we have the encoder, sender, then receiver. Sorry, message first, message, and then receiver. Okay? And then after that, mag-feedback si decoder. Message ulit, balik sa encoder. So itong interpreter, it interprets the message. So later we're going to study these elements. So the things that you can see in the model or in this model are its elements: the encoder, the decoder, interpreter, and the message. And then we also have some other more elements. So first, let's have this one. Shramm's communication model states that communication is a never-ending process. That is right. It's because as we grow, we gain more experiences. And these experiences help us to gain more knowledge in communicating or our communication skills. Okay? So let's now discuss the elements of this model. I'll just clean the board. Okay, let's have the first element. So the first element is the sender or the transmitter. Of course, this is the source of information. This is the beginning of communication. It transmits messages. That's the first process in this model. Next, it will go to encoder. Okay, so the encoder, it encodes the message into a signal. Okay, just like what we discussed a while ago. By the way, encoder also plays the role of a sender. So, ang sender, siya din yung nag-i-encode ng message. Okay? Next one, decoder. This is the opposite of encoder. So, decoder, it decodes the signal into a message. So, di ba ang encoder, it encodes the message into signal. This one, it decodes the signal into a message. Next one, interpreter. It interprets the message. And after interpreting, after understanding and analyzing the message, it will be delivered to the receiver, the destination of the message, the one who will receive the message. And then we have the message. The message is what we will convey. Without message, there will be no communication, right? Either it be verbal or non-verbal, there will always be a message behind communication. Okay? Next element, we have the feedback. The feedback, it is either came from the sender or receiver. Why? It's because in this type of model, it's interchanging roles. So as you can see in example a while ago, the model, later I'll show you. As you can see there a while ago in the model, nag-i-interchange yung role nila. So sender can also be a receiver. So ang sender could also be a decoder of the message. Ang receiver can also be the encoder of the message. Okay? So palitan sila ng roles in this model. Okay? Next one. Medium. Medium is like the channel. How was the message delivered? How the message was delivered by the sender or the receiver. Okay, that's the medium or the channel. Next, noise. Noise are the barriers. Okay, barriers in communication. They are, in Tagalog, hadlang sa magandang komunikasyon between the sender and the receiver. Okay, that's the noise. The noises can also be the reason why sometimes there are misunderstanding between the sender and receiver. Okay, and the last element are the field of experience. So just like the other model a while ago, which is the dance helix model, in this model, it also emphasized the field of experience. So for this model, experiences also affects the way we communicate. Okay, so that's it all for this model, the Shramm's communication model. Okay, so I hope you learned something from the model that I've discussed today. So before